in the Near East dates back at least 3,000 years, and there are many references to it in the Old Testament of the Bible. I've travelled here to the holy city of Jerusalem, which is home to 3 major religions, to see how those great traditions survive today.
The land lying between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea has been recognised for its deep spiritual significance since the beginning of modern civilization. Sometimes referred to as the Holy Land, its geographical boundaries and name has changed many times over the centuries. But throughout most of its long and often troubled history, the city of Jerusalem has been a central attraction for pilgrims from the world's 3 monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. All 3 trace their common origin back to Abraham and have deep religious and cultural links to this ancient city and its hallowed sites and stones. And despite their many differences, all share a long history of cheese making. I've decided to start my travels here, and my first stop is a visit to the fascinating Israel Museum to meet my guide and get an overview of how the old city looked in King David's time.
In front of us, you can see Temple Mount and the Holy Temple. And, was destroyed by the Babylonians at the 5th century BC, and the Jews were sent in exile to Babylon. After almost 100 years, they came back and started to build the second one.
And that's where the Dome of the Rock is now?
Today, yeah, that temple, that building, that whole area was destroyed by the Romans at the year 70 AD. And 6 years later, Prophet Muhammad was here, and Muslims believe he ascended to heaven from a rock on top of this mountain. That's why the place became holy for them.
This is my first visit to Jerusalem, and I'm quite surprised to find how small it feels. It's one of the world's oldest cities, and there's a real atmosphere about this place that's very hard to describe. Perhaps it's familiar landmarks that until now had just been childhood stories. The western Wailing Wall of King David's Temple, the gleaming dome of the Rock, and the tiny Christian church of the Holy Sepulchre are all found here on a well-trodden tourist route. And much to my delight, Dan tells me there was once even a valley of the cheesemakers.
Well, it was the whole industry of cheese there. You can read about it in the Bible. You can see it between this big valley, the Kidron Valley. On the other side of the hill, you see another valley. This was called then, in biblical time, the valley of the cheesemakers.
Just show me where exactly?
Yeah, you see kind of a little canal going down there. You can see a valley, actually with some bridges even over the valley. Can you see the bridge?
Yeah,
down there.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Over the valley of the cheesemakers.
The traditional cheeses found in this part of the world during biblical times were mainly fresh and brine cheeses made on a seasonal basis from the milk of goats and sheep. Hard cheese was rare, mainly because of the difficulties of storing cheese in such a hot climate without refrigeration, and also because of the strict controls over the use of kosher and halal rennet to coagulate the milk in Jewish and Muslim communities. Most of the cheeses now found in Israel are fresh types made from cow's milk and are produced using highly efficient industrial production. But I'm here to look at the growing interest in handmade artisan cheese produced by modern-day shepherds. And my first stop is a small eco-friendly dairy hidden away in the nearby hills. The Yaron family had a dream to set up a small cheese dairy in the sparse, scrubby hills of the Stalactite National Park more than 16 years ago. After a lot of love and hard work trying to reduce environmental damage to a minimum, They now milk more than 100 goats and make 10 different types of exceptional seasonal cheese.
And so the goats only get natural pasture all the time? Yeah?
Each day, and this is the only things they eat.
And do you find the cheese changes much from summer to winter?
Yes, it is.
Yeah?
Because it becomes drier in the summer and sharper.
Why did you take on a lifestyle like this for 16 years up in the hills?
I love it. It makes me life.
Is it tough?
Yes, but I have my mate, and together with the children, we make it.
It's a good lifestyle.
Yes, the
Yeah.
best.
What's this called?
It has no name. It's with the lactic culture.
The lactic culture. So very slow overnight lactic fermentation.
No, no. It's matured. It's sour.
Mm-hmm. What is sour? Yeah, nice sour.
It has salt in it. I like it. It's dry. It's not so smelly.
It's not smelly. Well, it smells, but it's not nasty smell.
Yeah,
It's a nice smell.
I prefer
So
those
this,
kind.
would this be your favourite cheese?
Yeah,
Ah.
from all of them here. But every day I have another favorite.
The Yaarans have built a reputation for excellent cheese, and their small property has become a popular spot for visitors wanting a break from the city. What makes this story more interesting is they don't own the land and are still fighting for the right to stay, a theme that I would find repeated throughout my stay in Israel.
We're going now to, in the middle of this forest. There's a whole family living there. Shey, the father, started years ago, came on his own. Here, living in a cave.
In a cave?
In a cave, in the middle of this forest. And started a herd of goats there and doing the most beautiful cheese now.
Founded in 1974, Ha Etan Farm is home to Shey Saltzer and his two sons. Their herd of 170 goats is a mix of Anglo-Nubian, Syrian and Cypriot breeds and produces an exceptionally rich milk, high in fat and dry matter. Shey has been making cheese now for almost 4 decades and is considered by many as the grandfather of the Israeli artisanal cheese revolution. After seeing the goats, Shey and I headed for the property's famous carved limestone cave.
This place is absolutely amazing, Shey. It's just got that feeling of ancient times, and these rock walls are covered in mould. Have you been making cheese and putting it in here for a long time?
That is our treasure. That is our treasure. These molds that are in this rock, this is our treasure. This gives a special taste for this cheese. And that is the reason that we are not selling cheese, we are selling Judah Mountains. We are making 5 different cheeses. Every cheese becomes from different plant.
After studying botany at university, Shey has continued to follow his interest in the subject by examining the health properties of the many medicinal plants and herbs naturally growing around the farm and how they affect the milk produced by the goats.
We make with the leaves of almonds.
Almond leaves.
And you know how it's good, almond leaves?
No, tell me.
The almond fat. It is so good for the skin.
Okay.
And that is beautiful for the skin. And this cheese, you see?
Yeah.
This is it is coming from one plant, it's called in Hebrew, lotem.
Lotum.
Yeah. And this plant is very good for people that make diet. It's make a very fast of
Metabolism. Yeah.
And it is wonderful.
Fantastic. So it's very quick to digest, and because of the way you actually take the milk from the lotum plant
Yeah.
during autumn, it's almost medicinal cheese.
everything what we are doing, we are using the milk as a platform, because the milk is very, very important subject.
Obviously, it's a very special, holy place when it comes to cheese. How do you keep it so moist?
We have this dry moisture that comes out. It works in the summer only in the summer.
But that's not enough to keep this cave wet all the
But
even
in the
summer.
winter, it is completely spring here.
Ah.
All the water comes beneath on the floor, and it is washed all the time with water. A lot of water, not from the roof, because the meeting of the two different rocks, it is here.
So that's almost like a spring comes down
Yeah,
through the
it's
bottom
coming.
here. When you first came here, was this an original cave?
No, it was a part of it. It was till that side, half till
Half
here.
cave, yeah.
Because this was a container for making olive oil.
Ah, so this is the old olive oil vat.
This olive oil was built before the year 70, in the Second Temple time. And that was outside, there was a place that it was making the oil. They pour it inside, and it came from here down to a big vat.
Yeah.
And through this vat, the water and the oil separate.
Yeah.
And then they take out the water, and they use the olive oil.
What was left with the olive oil? Nice and clean.
Oh, nice and clean.
So what's this one?
This one, it is cheese on his name. It's called Moni.
Monaco.
It is a lactic cheese.
And the rind on the outside, that mould,
Yeah, that is Candido.
just straight
Yeah.
candidum.
No, it's Candido mixed with the...
Geo, yeah?
Yeah, you can try it.
It's beautifully soft, moist, very, very creamy, very creamy. You know, you would hardly pick that as a goat's milk cheese at all. It's beautiful.
And that is why we keep the males far away from the females. They're never together.
So clean, so clean. It's very Moorish.
And if you taste these ones, the older ones, you will see we are not selling them before 6 months till they open the peptides. And when they open the peptides, you can count 10, 11, 20 different tastes. If you chew it, it's dependent on how long you chew it. But you can completely feel how many different levels of taste you have. We're going now to visit a family, a Palestinian family, beautiful family, that the family have few sheep and they make cheese at home for many generations, and this tradition passed from generation to generation.
As luck would have it, we arrived just in time to see the family's small flock of sheep being milked in the backyard.
And this is probably a scene that goes back thousands of years. The young kids catch the sheep and bring it over to the grandmother to milk. It's a classic. The clothes might have changed, but this is something that I don't think I ever expected to see. It's magic, magic.
The precious milk is then carried across the road to the main home behind their restaurant to be made into cheese. The restaurant serves delicious local Palestinian recipes, including the famous knafe, a delectable sweet cheese dish made from fresh curd cheese and a very fine vermicelli-like shredded wheat pastry.
So plenty of shredded wheat.
Yes.
Ah, so you're
That's
getting...
the cheeses.
Okay.
It's the sweet cheese.
The sweet cheese. Can I try a little bit?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Soft, salty and sweet. Yeah. That's lovely, yeah. So just give me a little squeeze. Huh.
The fresh cheese is then broken by hand and scattered across the pastry base. After firmly pressing the cheese into the pastry, the pan is placed on the flame and cooked till a brown crust develops on the base. The pastry and cheese pie is then flipped and generously covered in a syrup made from sugar and water flavoured with geranium flowers. The final layer is a generous helping of freshly crushed pistachio nuts.
Good. Good.
Generous, eh?
The perfumed sweet smell of the kanafe is enticing as it's sliced up.
Lovely and crispy.
Yes.
Sweet, but a little bit of the geranium there.
But it's not too much sweet.
No, not sweet.
Yeah.
And the cheese just gives it that lovely rounded flavour.
Yes. Good.
Very good.
Good.
Thank you.
There were loads of delicious smells emanating from the kitchen, and I was really tempted to stay and try some of the local dishes. But first, I had to check on the cheese being made next door.
تفضل شاي تفضل. السلام عليكم.
Salam alaikum.
سلام عليكم. اهلا وسهلا.
السلام عليكم.
تفضل. اهلا وسهلا. تفضل. تفضلوا. Now we are arriving to my mother house. Her name is Rasmiye Naif.
Rismayinef.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in this moment, we achieve her preparing cheese. Our typical. I am more than 45 years old, and all of the time I am eating my mother cheese. She completed the first time to put the enzyme in the milk, and during more than 45 minutes, all of the milk became aggregated like this. And the second step, she got all of the protein with the liquids inside a small piece of
cloth.
cloth. All of these traditions in my family more than 1,000 years.
So-
In this area.
So this would be one of the original cheeses of the area.
Yes, this is the original cheese.
Yeah.
They do it in that thing. There are others in the desert, they do the same. They cover it one on the other and then put a stone on it. So the water will go faster.
Yeah.
And they have a hole here and the water is gathered.
Yeah.
And then they take the water and make for it, put it to make the bread, the pita.
Ah, okay.
After coagulation into curds and whey, the simple draining process takes place in stages, with the curd being wrapped several times. Shaikh also explained that in ancient times, the whey was sometimes used as a medicine to treat skin diseases. The skillfully wrapped little parcels of curd are then placed under old grinding stones that have been in this family for hundreds of years. I was also invited to try the family's labna, a traditional type of fresh strain yogurt made all over the Near East.
But مع ملح? Without salt. Yeah, without salt.
روبة لبن منه بيها في مادة روبة لبن منه بيها.
And it's so important to tell you that traditionally
It's beautiful.
the shelf life
It's right. It just glides down your throat, and it's just all the time. It's just opening up those wonderful, creamy flavors.
Yeah.
Like aroma.
Up the back of my nose, yeah, I can get the aroma as well. It's fabulous.
Yeah, you can.
It's
you
really,
can,
really
the
good.
texture, Yeah,
Yeah.
the texture and.
Beautiful. And also, thank you very much.
Thank you very
كل
much.
لك شكرا.
ألف شكرا.
سلم بالله
يا حجي.
بدي يسلم عليك.
الكل بالله سلم على الكل.
بدي يسلم عليك الزلمه.
ألف شكرا.
اوكي.
Thank you.
اهلا وسهلا.
Before leaving Jerusalem, Shai offered to show me through the labyrinth of shops in the Muslim quarter of the old city to try and find an example of the traditional hard-dried labna cheese.
So this would be one of the original traditional cheeses of this region. Must be very, very
And this is a baladi. This is making by a farmer. So they take the butter, they make from the butter ghee.
Yeah. And then this is what's left over.
A lot of
salty.
yes, but that's for cooking.
I'm not surprised. You know, I've heard lots and lots about this cheese. I've heard it in Lebanon, further north in Syria, and I've never seen it. And this is something that's made at home. So it's really special.
And look at the aftertaste of it.
It's making all my
Yes, it's
just
wonderful.
my mouth really work really, really hard.
Yeah, but you can cook everything with that.
Fantastic.
And that is the protein.
Oh, that's a real find.
This is the local cheese. What preserves it is the salty water
Or the sun.
or the sun.
Yeah.
So salty with sun. But this is salty water, and touch it and you see it is not hard.
No. It'd be quite salty still.
It is belong to the family of the feta.
Yeah. Very
All
similar.
of them are they're making it without the bacteria and just put rennet, put it in the salt, and that is key.
Shey and I then continued our journey across town to the vibrant Mahani Yehuda markets to meet one of the most respected cheesemongers in Jerusalem.
So these are all local?
This is all local, it's all Israeli local. In Israel we like the white cheese, you know, very fresh, very young. I give you just some example cheese.
What's this one called?
Every family in Israel has tzfatit in the fridge.
Yeah.
It's called tzfatit. It's only 5% fatty side. It's
Yeah.
half a salt.
Right.
Taste, this is very, very mild.
That's nice.
This is Israeli cheese. Tzfatit is Israeli cheese, like a cottage, you know.
Yeah.
You know the cottage, the Israeli cottage?
Yeah. There's a little bit of sweetness in that as well.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
Here, you've been here for how long?
I am only 20 years in my place.
Only 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sell cheese.
What sort of changes have you seen for the local cheese in that time?
You know, usually the cheese in Israel is very, very mild, a little bit of salt. But I see now that the people like more strong taste, more hard cheese. Usually we eat only 5%, 9%. Now the people in Israel want 28%, 35% fat in the cheese. Now in Israel we have a lot of boutique farm in Israel, small farmers. They make it special cheese. This is very new cheese in Israel. Usually we have only regular cheese, but now we have boutique cheese in Israel. So I'm glad to see the new cheese in Israel,
So how do you see the future over the next 20 years?
like a Europe cheese. I sure like a Europe cheese.
So
The Israeli like cheese. They like cheese.
well, keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Enjoy.
much.
Have a good day, my
And I'll
friend.
see you next time.
Good to see you. Bye.
The Negev is a huge, sprawling, sparsely populated area in the south of Israel that makes up more than half of this small country's total landmass. With an average of just 200 millilitres of rain a year, it's not really the sort of place you'd expect to find artisan cheesemakers. But like so many assumptions I've made about Israel, that would be wrong.
In this part of the world, rich agricultural land is considered far too valuable to use for small artisan cheese production. But there's one ingenious solution, and it lies here in the middle of the Negev desert.
Anat and Daniel Cornmell decided to create this very unusual dairy farm in 1997 after graduating in agricultural science at Hebrew University and then studying cheesemaking with Shey Saltzer. The property is leased from the government and sits perched high on a rocky hill above the ruins of an old Bronze Age farm. A mobile home, small dairy, cheese shop and covered goat pen are all they're allowed to build. And to overcome the shortage of water, an oxidization garden recycles 90% of all wastewater. The dairy keeps Nubian goats, which are well suited to the hot, dry environment of the desert, with long, pendulous ears, big noses, and a longer breeding season than any other goat.
Oh, look at this. This looks amazing. Look at this mould here. Geotrichum mould, yes?
Yes, yeast actually.
How did you learn to do that? That is a real trick.
A lot of mishaps in the beginning until we got to, I think, something which is more stable, more.
Well, that is something very special, very traditional, and I'm amazed you can do it in these conditions. I'm impressed.
Thanks.
A real art to doing that.
Thank you very much.
This is from May, and we're now in September. So this one is
4 months.
4 months old.
4 months old.
4 months old. Look at that. Look at that mould. Wow.
This one is not being washed at all.
Okay. Actually, I tell you what. Why don't we try this for lunch? I go next door and try one or two of those hard
Right?
cheeses.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yes,
that
of
looks
course.
very special. It looks like it could be. Might need a glass of wine to try that one to go down.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, very good one to do it.
Yeah. All right. So let's go
Great,
next
yep.
door. I'll hold this. So this is the jewel,
This is the jewel of the crown.
and this was named after
One of the goats.
one of the goats, of course.
Jewel in Hebrew is a D.
Look at that. It's a beautiful smell.
Love this one.
Sweet.
Yes.
So you just break this lump off here.
It should be softer than it is. It's too dry.
No, look at that.
Coming here will be better, I think.
Hey, look, that looks terrific. Look at all those little bits of calcium lactate around the corner in it.
Yes.
I bet they're going to be really nice and crunchy and sweet.
They
I'm looking
will.
forward to this.
I love those. I love
Okay.
those crystals. You can find them in the AD. You can find them in Vienna too.
That's fabulous. You know, it's really clean. Lovely balance of salt, a little bit of sweetness, and those tiny bits of calcium lactate in there. That's really lovely cheese. Really, you know, the funny thing is, after you've had one bite, you can't resist having another.
The quality of these cheeses was remarkable, particularly when you consider the location and tiny size of this dairy.
How long have you been here?
14 years already.
14 years.
Come in October will be 14 years.
But you are allowed to stay here.
We're allowed to stay here. We still have a lot of problems, yes, but we're allowed to stay here. Most of the land in Israel actually belongs to the state of Israel, and we lease the land from the state. There are a lot of problems related to it, but I love the desert.
Why?
Empty, quiet. One good thing in the desert is that you can stand in a good point and see for miles away. Look at the climate. Yes, I'm sweating, but still, I mean, you don't have this unless you're down in the desert or up in the mountains. In the nights, I mean, it's like beautiful, cold, nice.
An extraordinary place to make cheese. Never seen anything like it. Good luck. Thanks, Shey, for getting him on the road in the first place.
The next dairy I've arranged to visit was started by two enterprising brothers with a love of the desert. Yinon and Hedai created their sustainable organic dairy farm in the Avara Valley after running an intensive farming operation for many years. The dairy uses milk from a small herd of alpine goats, which are kept in a specially shaded pen cooled by mist showers. After a lot of hard work and experimenting, the dairy now produces a sensational range of really interesting surface-ripened cheeses.
Tell me, how did you end up here in the middle of the desert making cheese from goat's milk?
So not only that it's in the middle of the desert, these are alpine goats, we brought them from France, that are raising in 50 degrees Celsius sometimes in the summer, producing double the amount of milk, proteins, and fat than any other goat in the country.
No.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
First of all of our goats are organic. I don't have herding areas, so I have to feed them with grown food.
So where does that come from?
From the north.
So it comes all the way across
From the north.
country,
Yeah.
across the desert,
Yes.
down here.
Yeah, but don't forget that Israel is 6 hours north to south and an hour and a half east to west. The uniqueness of this place is we are not calling ourselves a cheese farm or a dairy goat farm.
Yeah.
We're the model farm for sustainable agriculture in Israel, which means what we're trying to create is a way to maintain family farming in Israel without becoming these huge farming conglomerates that produces food for the mass. We want to create good food that is tasty, that is healthy, and that we can make a living off. This is the reason my brother and his family came here about 15 years ago, and my wife and I 15 years ago, because we like being in the desert. There's no reason why we should come in the desert and bring the North or Europe with us.
So where'd you get the idea for this from?
It's a homage for one of my favorite French cheeses called Poise de Bourgogne, which is covered with Marc de Bourgogne. And I used our Marc de Bourgogne, which is Arak, which is anisette flavored, very high alcohol volume liquor.
We don't really taste the aniseed, do you?
Not at all. What it does, it kills the bacteria on the outside, and it creates a bit like a oidum, like a reddish, brownish bacteria, and it gives this taste which is more profound, and we keep brining it and keep running it through Arak, and it's just beautiful.
That's really interesting, really interesting. All right, that's one. Now the other one I'd love to taste is this one. What's this one called?
This one is called Ein Karem, after the neighborhood or the village where I live in Jerusalem. This is very ripened right now.
Look how soft it is.
Yeah, I like it like that.
Yeah, little soft and squidgy. It's just dripping. Look at this, just dripping out.
Yeah.
Look at that drip there. That's ripe.
Yep.
Okay.
There's a harder version of it right here. You want to try this one, eh?
With some of this lovely bread you've baked. This is lovely and warm.
Yeah, that's, the kids baked it in the oven right there. That's our traditional pita bread.
And is that charcoal?
Yeah.
Just standard charcoal, or?
It's chestnut charcoal.
Chestnut charcoal.
Yeah.
And that's just starting to break it down around the outside. And it's got that lovely mould on it. You know? It tastes even better than it looks. That's really great. You've got loads of very original products here. You know, this yogurt with date in it. There's yogurt with almonds. Some wonderful stuff. And look at this cheese down here. It's literally just slipping away.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, best of luck with the future.
Thank you. We do hope so.
These dedicated brothers have big plans for the future of their sustainable farm. And I can't wait to visit them in a few years to see what they will create in this unforgiving landscape. Early the next morning, Shey and I headed north from the desert, past the shores of the spectacular Dead Sea, long hailed for its healing powers. From there, we continued to the Sea of Galilee, made famous in the Bible as the site of many of Jesus' miracles. Our destination is the whimsically named Goats in the Wind Farm, which is hidden amongst the dry hills of Har Ashabi, not far from the ancient city of Nazareth, the cradle of Christianity. The farm was started in 1993 and slowly hand-built by friends and volunteers. Today, this isolated cheese dairy produces organic cheeses from a small herd of goats which graze on the local shrub. And I sat down with Amnon, one of the original settlers, to taste some of their cheeses.
It's because you're self-sufficient here. You don't have any power, apart from the wind power. Is that right?
We are from the sun.
The sun?
The sun, yeah.
So it's all, and the wind?
The wind and the sun, yeah.
So you're not on the grid at all?
No.
Who helps you here to keep all these goats?
There is all the family that helps. And volunteers that comes. The volunteer in the beginning, we help them. We try to help them to understand what's going on. And now, the people that stay, that have a patience and like to stay, they started to be special after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, something like this.
Do you name your cheeses after the goats, or
your children, or do they have special names?
Some of them have special name. For example, the ricotta is the same name that it's ricotta, but this one, because there is carbon around, we call it fahima.
Fahima is the carbon.
And of course, the carbon would change how it matures, yeah?
Yeah.
That's really nice. That's good. You should try that one.
I'm going to.
Beautiful. Really, really good. What's your favorite cheese?
Usually the Lebanese is my favorite.
Yeah.
But
just the fresh cheese. The
yeah.
very simple fresh cheese.
yeah, it's very simple.
How's
the
that?
Lebanese, it's in one way it's very simple, another way it's very complicated because it's the milk need to be in a very good quality. If the milk is a good quality, the Lebanese is good. You make yogurt first of all.
Yeah.
And after 3 or 4 days that the yogurt is enough acidity, we put it in a cloth.
Yeah.
And then the water goes down alone.
Mm-hmm. So you drain it, yeah?
Yeah, we dry it. It's need to be not dry too much.
And the little herbs on the top?
And the herbs are za'atar. How you say za'atar in English?
Belong to the family of oregano.
Really nice. And what are these here? Is this cheese?
Oh, this is the cookie. There is
Cookie. Oh, look at that. Fantastic.
L'chaim, before everything.
How do you say it?
L'chaim.
L'chaim. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Beautiful cheese. Beautiful cheese. Travelling northeast from Goats in the Wind, I headed for the last dairy on my list, which is located 900 metres above sea level in the small town of Safed, one of Judaism's 4 holy cities. According to Jewish legend, the town was originally founded after the Great Flood by Shem and Eva, the son and grandson of Noah. Cheesemaking began here after a massive earthquake virtually destroyed the town, and Jewish leaders sought support from all over the world to help rebuild the community. The Hamiri family answered the call from Iran and rebuilt a dairy on the site which still stands today. The secrets of this amazing dairy lie with this deep underground spring. It was discovered 174 years ago after a big earthquake, and it meant that the dairy could cool the milk during the hot summer months. They make a soft, creamy marinated cheese called brinza, which is loosely based on Bulgarian cheese and is aged in tins in the cold, damp underground cellars for a minimum of 6 months. Oh, so soft.
So soft, yeah.
And so creamy.
Yes.
That is really lovely. Really lovely.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about the history behind it?
The first generation start doing the brinza cheese, and each generation after him had a little bit different, okay? But I think in the last 50 years, my father had the most important changes in order to receive the taste you're tasting right now.
It just keeps all the juices going, and
all
it's
the
really
muscles.
really lovely cheese. I can understand why it's been going for so many generations.
Thank you very much.
It's really good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, this has been a really interesting trip, which has challenged my preconceptions of this small country. I've met some amazingly friendly people. I've seen some breathtaking countryside, and best of all, I've tasted some wonderful cheeses. I now understand why Israel is considered such a special part of the world, and the experience of visiting this ancient spiritual land is not something I will ever forget.
This is one kafia that is a symbol of the Arabs, and on it, it is written here, you can see the sign of the Muslim Christian and Jews, and put it here, and put it here. So now you're not going to sweat in the desert, and everything will be nice. I can see you. Now I can see you.
Cheese nice in Israel!